This is the story of Leeuwarden, the capital of Friesland, from its earliest beginnings on 3 man-made mounds which are still visible in the city today. The history of Leeuwarden started many years ago, as far back as the New Stone Age, somewhere between 8000 and 2000 before Christ. Nomadic hunter-gatherers used this area for temporary settlements. Since the 3rd century before Christ, farmers built dwelling mounds with sods of grass, which enabled them to live permanently in these salt marshes. A mound-dotted landscape was created, in which inhabitants had close contact with each other. One of these dwelling mounds was called Oldehove. Farmhouses had been built there since the 5th century. In the 9th century, the St. Vitus Church was constructed in Oldehove. From then on, the mound started to develop into a religious center for the surrounding area. But because of this, it lost its population. People moved to Nijehove, a little further down the river A, the waterway to the Middle Sea. This village was situated on 2 dwelling mounds, with a harbor and a dam in the middle. Nijehove grew into a center of commerce for farmers and traders from surrounding villages. Nijehove's favorable location on the Middle Sea even made overseas trade possible, with countries as far away as Scandinavia and Russia. During the 13th century, the Middle Sea silted up and the area was gradually reclaimed. This resulted in Nijehove losing its trade from faraway places and focusing its trade locally instead. Around 1300, Nijehove was defended with a narrow moat and with drawbridges. Inhabitants and visitors could only enter the village through 4 guarded gates. The economic heart shifted from the Kleine and Grote Hoogstraat to the area around Voorstreek and Brol. In the year 1245, Dominican monks settled in Nijehove with the support of the influential noble Caminga family. The Caminga family became the most powerful and owned several residences, among with Camingaburg, a castle with moat, which was situated at the place where the stadium of the local football club Cambuur is now. During the 13th and 14th centuries, Friesland was ravaged by a bloody civil war between greycoats and fat buyers. In 1498, Duke Albert of Saxony ended this feud by subordinating Friesland under his central authority. The Duke built a fortress in Leeuwarden, later known as Blokhuis, from which he aimed to control Friesland. A few years later, Friesland fell into the hands of King Charles V and became part of the Habsburg Empire. In 1504, Leeuwarden became the official capital of Friesland. By that time, the whole city had been surrounded by a moat and modern earthen ramparts. In the 17th century, Leeuwarden was situated favorably in a network of barge traffic. Because of this, it became the center of commerce in Friesland, with excellent connecting canals to other cities in the Republic of the 7 United Netherlands. The city council assembled in the Walta-huis, a building in the vicinity of the Dairy Weighing House, one of the most impressive buildings in Leeuwarden. The stadtholder, or Frisian head of state, lived in a palace nearby the river A. The many markets and the rich cultural life, with painters, book printers and writers, attracted many migrants to Leeuwarden and caused the population to grow considerably. Leeuwarden experienced its own golden age. However, this period of growth and prosperity ended around 1670. During the next 150 years, the city expanded very little. During the first half of the 19th century, the city underwent enormous changes. Ramparts and gates were demolished, and Leeuwarden gradually transformed from a closed city into a modern and open one. Through the construction of state highways and the link to the national railway network in 1863, Leeuwarden became better connected to the rest of the Netherlands. More and more houses and businesses were built beyond the former city moat. Mansions and villas appeared in the area close to the railway station and along the new canal. Around the year 1900, there was much demand for housing for laborers. The founding of housing associations led to the development of working-class neighborhoods beyond the former city moat. During the first half of the 20th century, Leeuwarden grew increasingly and extended to where the bypass would be built later on. When Leeuwarden annexed the neighboring municipality of Leeuwarderedeel in 1944, the city not only grew in size but in population as well. Expansion in the 1960s continued with the building of various residential and industrial areas beyond the bypass. From the 1970s, a financial district was created near the city center. It was marked by a 115-meter-high tower owned by Achmea, an insurance company. It is considered one of the symbols of a city that developed itself during a 1,000-year period, from a small dwelling mound to a dynamic administrative and cultural center of Friesland.
The panel recommends the Dutch government, the minister, to nominate European Capital of Culture 2018 the city of Leeuwarden.